So this is Cheryl Tones. Cheryl Tones started Tones Family Health about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
30 years ago with my dad.
Mm-hmm.
My mom and my dad started Tones Family Health. It started...
Well, yeah, it started in West Walk Arcade. That was the true
beginning of it all.
Yeah, and that was your dad's mom who started it. So your granny, or Nana, started that business. She started it, I think, when Dad was 5 years old. She started the health box in West Walk Arcade, and that was like a landmark little health shop.
So it was one of the first health shops?
It was one of the first health shops, and it was the busiest little shop you could ever imagine. People just buzzed in and out of there all day long. And Dad joined her, and then I met him, and we worked there together.
And the passion began.
Yeah.
And then it was like, from what I've heard, it was like nothing else. That was like the focus.
Yeah, so we decided then we wanted to study together to learn as much as we could. So we did. We studied herbalism together, and that's when the passion really ignited, and we realized we loved herbs more than anything, and we just learned so much when we studied.
So this was, from what I imagine, it's like before you saw any results even yet. Like you just loved the idea of what they...
Well, I suppose we had started to see it when we were in the shop. People would be coming in all day telling us about all these herbs, and when you walked into the health box, all you could smell was herbs. It had like such a pungent, distinct smell. Some people would walk in and go, oh gosh, what's that smell? And for us, it was just lovely. Eventually, after a couple of months, you don't even realize that it smelled funny. But people would walk in and notice the smell.
Yeah.
And the whole one shelf behind the counter was just herbs. And we realized that, people were coming in every day and telling us about the wonderful things that these herbs did. And we were still learning. So we didn't realize how powerful they were. They were just like interesting.
Yeah.
And then people would come in and say, oh my gosh, I used devil's claw and the pain in my fingers have gone. So we'd write it down. We had this book. It wasn't a very big book, but we just started writing everything that we learned from our customers.
You were studying?
Yeah, maybe even before we started studying. We had this book and we just write down. So somebody would come in and say they used crane's bill and they didn't have any more period pains. So we'd write it down. And eventually we had such a glossary of all these ailments and herbs. And we thought, well, what are we going to do with all this knowledge? So then we started studying, and
that was through, what was it called back then?
It was called the SA College of Herbal Medicine and Health. I think it's still going. It's still going now, but we bought it back then, and we grew it, and then eventually we sold it. But we had so much passion for herbs. So
From there, you took over the college, you were still working at the health box? We were in the health box, yes. But we actually moved for a short period of time after we bought the college. We moved to Ramsgate on the south coast, because that's where the college was. That was the head office of the college. So we lived there for a while, and the guy, Sydney, that owned the college taught us all about it. He was a very passionate man and had so much energy, and every day he would come in and he would just teach us everything he knew. He would take us to go and look at the herbs, see what they looked like, because you only see in a shop, you see all the dried herbs, so you don't really know what they look like. So he took us and he would take us to all the little spots on the south coast where he knew the herbs grew. He would take us to a nursery and show us so we could see and feel. And we were forced to learn fast, because people still were expecting, we took over the college, so now they expected us to know all this. So we were thrown in the deep end, and we had to learn. And that's when we started manufacturing tinctures. So that's nearly 30 years ago now. So tinctures have been, our focus. Mm-hmm. And like you always say that there's numerous reasons why you would choose them even today, which is, one of them I know is like the digestibility of it, compared to your stomach having to break down herbs. You never know what someone might have a problem with.
So if somebody has bad digestion, or they don't have enough enzymes in their stomach, or they have low stomach acidity, taking a capsule can sometimes not allow them to absorb the maximum amount of nutrients or the active ingredients out of that capsule, because it takes a lot to digest. Whereas when you take a tincture, it's active, it's easily digested. All the ingredients are readily available. So taking a tincture allows you to get maximum amount of active ingredients out of the herbs. So we always chose a tincture first. The only time we'll do a capsule is if you're not using herbs, because obviously
like your vitamins
minerals. You don't formulate as a tincture. It's always in a capsule or a tablet.
But herbs back then was like the focus.
Yes, that's how we started.
Yeah. And then I remember, I mean, we won't get into any brand names, but I remember when your first hit happened when I was about 6 years old, which was for sinuses and allergy. Yeah. And that took off.
Oh, that was amazing.
This was in 2002, around 2000, around there.
And Dad was actually the first person that we used the formula on, because he used to suffer terribly with sinus problems. So we thought, oh well, we need to sort this out.
So you took all the herbs that you had put together.
Yeah, so we looked in our book and we thought, well, this is the best formula. These are the herbs we've always had results with for sinus and allergies.
Let's try to put them together.
So we put them together in different ones, and then over a period of a month or so, Dad trialed it and he was like, wow, this is the formula. So then a friend of mine as well, she had terrible trouble with sinus and allergy, and we said to her, well, it's worked so well on Dad, you can use it as well. And she came back, she said, Cheryl, you guys just have to market this formula. It was incredible. So we said, okay. And we had been trialing it through we had a little practice as well in Hillcrest, and we'd been trialing it through our patients as well. And they'd had phenomenal results. So a few of them were willing to do testimonials for us, and this friend of mine did a testimonial. And we put an ad in the paper, and I remember Dad went into Hillcrest to get a few things, and he left me to answer the phone. And I couldn't. We had two numbers he had put in. There were no. I don't think we even used. It was just a telephone number.
Yeah.
And eventually, I had to take the one phone off the hook, and I was just inundated with calls. And by the time he got home, I was so flustered, but so excited at the same time, because everybody wanted it. And in those days, we delivered it directly to your door. And the first day, we must have had like 80 deliveries. We didn't even know how we were going to do them. We had to phone people back and say, we can't deliver tomorrow. We had to go in areas.
Time it up.
Yes. Oh. And it just snowballed from there. It was incredible. And
that product then sold to a pharmaceutical chain, which back then,
it was
like
huge.
herbs was like a bit of hogwash back then.
Yeah.
No one knew about it. Like there was one health shop, and now suddenly this natural product was like getting really good results.
Yes.
And like that, well, I've thought about it a lot, and that must have been like yours and Dad's first big like trigger.
Yes.
That this was something
we could actually
huge, bigger than what you thought.
Absolutely.
Like the passion was there, but now it's like it's
real.
Doing stuff that drugs are only supposed to do. You know.
That's exactly it. Yeah, it was very exciting, and it was like a big feather in our cap back then that we had sold a product.
I know. I thought about it a lot. Like it must have been like that was the like trigger of the whole lot.
Yes.
And then
what I'm trying to remember.
So I know like the timeline of everything, and I'd love to just like get deeper thoughts, because we don't often get to chat about it. And like from then we moved a lot, and we tried to do huge projects, and we moved on to like developing one of the projects we actually chatted today got listed on the JSE.
Yes.
There was a big, I mean, that was a huge thing as well for natural products. Also, for a company to get listed back then, this was 15 years ago.
Yes,
15 longer.
I think you were in grade 3 or grade 4.
I was in grade 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we moved up to Joburg, this company that. Dad was a partner and got listed in JSE, and it was just natural products, which was also huge.
It was the first natural products to be listed on the company to be listed on the JSE back then.
Huge.
Yeah.
And then from there, Life Tones.
Yes.
That was the biggest.
And I know the story of this, but I remember you and Dad saying that someone had got results from this product, and this was, they went and took an ad out in the newspaper, and Dad got home, and my mom went and said, like, wow, like, amazing ad you put there about this guy getting great results from this product. And Lifetones is an arthritis medicine, and he said that he was wheelchair bound and he was walking again from this product. And he went and took out an advert, paid for this ad in a newspaper without my parents' knowledge about how well this product worked, and then it just snowballed from there. And we got like our first big factory ourselves. Dad partnered with it was a really good partnership. And he brought the strategy business side, and Dad brought the passion and the knowledge and the products, and together, like, you guys, I mean, you made a killer team back then. We were doing, at that stage, like, sometimes 100,000 units would come out of that tiny little, it was a 250, 300 square meter factory, and I just remember bottles everywhere. This thing was chock-a-block.
It was very exciting.
And we were doing like how many liters? 10,000 liter.
That big silver, it was a big silver container.
Silo.
Yes, it
in
was.
the factory, That was,
took up half the factory.
That was so cool.
It was lots of fun
But that was the product that got, like, you could see the results happening right in front of you.
Immediate. Most people felt it straight away.
Within a few days.
And that's what's so nice with a product like that, is people can feel the difference immediately. Whereas often when you take a product for an ailment, you have to wait a few days before
because it's a serious thing. People don't, I mean, they expect with drugs, you take a drug and then like, our biggest thing is that we treat the cause and not the symptoms. And drugs are there to just help you get through the day, and people are expecting the same result. When treating the cause and taking that whole ailment away is not just like an overnight thing. And like, the thing with the drug is you're going to just keep taking it and think you're getting results.
But
that's not the results you want. You just suppress it. But with ours, like, Lifetones was so good.
Lifetones the reason it works so well is because it doesn't just treat the symptom of, I've got pain and inflammation, and it relieves the pain and inflammation. It actually goes and gets rid of the cause, which is the acid, the uric acid that is...
So it creates an alkaline state of the body.
It breaks down those uric acid crystals in the joint, which is causing the pain and inflammation. So that's where it was so different to all the other products that were on the market that were just treating the symptom. And yes, they all got results. They all gave you relief. But as soon as you stop taking it, the pain returned. Whereas with Lifetones, as long as you keep your body alkaline after that...
you're not overeating sugar and drinking every day. And
there's always...
So it's always, I mean, it is your choice.
You do have to make a lifestyle change 100%, in the end.
But with everything you do.
So Lifetones was amazing to see and hear the results from people so quickly.
That was our next, like, I would say, our biggest hit after, like, sinus and allergy, same thing. Like, people today, I mean, we got an email 3 days ago, and someone just ordered 6 bottles and said it's because she thought we were somehow not selling it anymore, and went and bought 6 bottles.
Because it's under a new name now.
And it was like, that to me was so cool. And then that Lifetones was the next step, which was like another product that got these awesome results quite fast, and wasn't like an ailment that was over the moon difficult.
But if you look at it, most of our products that we've done have been because of maybe someone in our family or one of our close friends that have suffered from a problem and asked us to help them.
So we've been through the problem ourselves.
Like when you developed the product for acne. You suffered from...
I went through it the worst.
Yes, you had it really badly, and nothing was working. You didn't want to take any serious drugs, so you decided to do it yourself. And
once we treat it ourselves, you treat the people around you, and then it turns into a product.
That's it. So every one of us in some way has experienced that. So for me, it was when I developed a fungal nail infection after having many artificial nails put on. And eventually I developed a really bad fungal infection, and nothing was treating it. I could not get rid of this fungal infection. So eventually, after trying everything on the market and nothing was working, it was very frustrating because it obviously looked horrible and you feel terrible when your nails don't look nice. I eventually thought, well, I have to treat it somehow. So it was Every day, yes.
Go back to the book.
Yes, go back to the book.
All the knowledge.
That's exactly it. Go back to that book. Look at
what was treating fungus.
Yes.
Like what was killing fungus, what was killing bacteria,
Yes.
what is the cause of it,
yes.
and how do we...
So it was just every day sitting with different formulae, giving it a week, seeing how it worked, and finally it was one that...
Adding a bit more of this, a bit more of that.
That's right. And eventually, after like 2 days, I could see the difference already, and I knew this was it. And that's how Nail Fix came about. And now we sell thousands and thousands of bottles.
And it is like such an amazing industry as well, because everything's natural. So testing is like, it's easy. It's 100% natural. Putting something like that on your skin is not somehow, I mean, we know herbs that may irritate the skin.
Yeah.
You know, everyone would know that.
Yeah.
But combining 3 different herbs is not somehow going to irritate the skin. It's 100% natural. So it's made testing over the years a lot easier than
so
testing
easier.
a drug where you could get knocked out, you know, or too much of that and it throws your hormones off.
It's just tweaking it to make sure that it's working the best possible way. So every herb has so many uses and they're all good, but it's finding out what that herb is the best at doing. So like the herb dandelion. Yes, dandelion.
So that you're treating all areas of the cause.
Yes. If you think of just dandelion has so many uses. It's good at flushing out the kidneys. It's good at getting rid of fat in the body. It's good at liver support. So you can use it for so many different things, but you've got to decide which one is it going to be best at in that particular formula. So do you make it 50% part of the formula or just 10% part of the formula?
Because another herb may be able to assist a bit more.
That's right. But together they work better. They're like a synergistic approach. Because dandelion on its own is lovely, but wow, when you combine it with, say, milk thistle and artichoke for the liver, it's even better. So using herbs that work together can amplify the effect of every herb.
So this is from 30 years of
and adding something like cayenne pepper to it can sometimes amplify it even more. Cayenne pepper is like the spark plug to a lot of herbs.
Maximize absorption.
Yes, maximize absorption, gets the circulation going. So we often add that in. Yeah, there's so many exciting ways to use herbs. I have to get excited about it.
No, this is what it's been all about. And like the most exciting part is hearing the stories. Like I remember you talked about a lady that you helped. She couldn't fall pregnant for how long? Years.
Well, yeah, this is a long time ago now. I think you were still like 3 or 4 years old, and it was we'd always used herbs to improve people's fertility. There are lovely herbs that make sure you're ovulating and that your uterus is ready to receive a baby. So this lady was actually able to fall pregnant, but she wasn't able to carry her babies. So she had fallen pregnant many, many times, but lost the babies within 2 or 3 months of being pregnant. I think the one she even carried through to about 5 months. And so she might have even been doing IVF because she was pregnant with twins. So she came to me as she found out, and we actually helped her strengthen her uterus, make sure the lining in her uterus was nice and thick to hold the babies. And she carried the twins right through full term. And that was so exciting. I've still got letters from her for ages. She sent me photos of the babies.
See, that's the best part.
Yes.
Like that's what
the results.
Yeah. That's probably what's kept us so strong in the industry is you get to see these little wins. Well, that was a big one. Yeah, that was awesome.
That was like, so lovely.
Hearing people say they walk again after life turns is like unreal. Like that's why we do what we do.
That's exactly why we do what we do.